In this video, we'll learn about what is OSI reference model. What is this reference model? Who invented this reference model? Why it is invented? How many layers are there? What are the functionalities of each and every layer? We will discuss in this video. So, OSI reference model is introduced by International Organization for Standardization, shortly called ISO, in the year of 1984, and it is now considered as an architectural model for intercommunication, computer communications. Means if two or more computer systems are there, if you want to share information from one system to the another system, then it will take several steps to correctly received by the receiver. That means whatever the sender sending the data, that data is correctly received by the receiver with a meaningful information. Means what the information is sent by sender, it will be received correctly by the receiver. So to receive that data, it will take some steps. So by using the reference models, we will take several steps to correctly receive the data. So this OSI reference model was introduced in the year of 1984 by ISO. ISO means International Standard Organization, means International Organization of Standardization. So this OSI abbreviation is Open System Interconnection. So that is a open system interconnection. That means it is interconnecting one system to the another system publicly. That means any system can connect to the any other system, and if a system want to transmit, simply it will transmit the data. It is a reference model that describes how information from a software application in one computer moves through a physical medium to the software application in the another computer. That means from one system to another system, how the data is transmitted. So various steps should be taken to correctly receive the transmitting the data. So what are the steps we need to take? We'll see. OSI consists of 7 layers, and each layer performs a particular network function. So here in OSI reference model, we have 7 different layers are there at sender side and at the receiver side also. So what are the 7 layers? We'll see. So each layer is self-contained. That means a package of protocols. So it will follow some rules in each and every layer to transmit the data correctly to the receiver. So it is a self-contained, so that task assigned to each layer can be performed independently. That means each layer's work is independent to the other's layer. That means each and every layer is a package of protocol, and one layer performs some task which is independent to the task performed by the other layers. So we'll see what are the reference 7 layers are there. What are the 7 different layers in OSI reference model are: physical layer, data link layer, network layer, transport layer, session layer, presentation layer, and application layer. So these are the 7 layers which are existed in sender side and also in the receiver side. So what are the basic functionality of each and every layer? So the layers are arranged in this manner, means starting from the physical layer, it will be end up with an application layer. So shortly the physical layer's duty is for transmitting the binary data. That means transmitting the bits in the form of zeros and ones. So data link layer means it is used to access the media or channel, because more number of stations want to access the channel. So to avoid the collisions, we will use this data link layer. So network layer's duty is to address and to best path. That means routing of the data from which source to which destination, what is the route path. So everything will be decided by this network layer. Transport layer mean here it is end-to-end connections. So it is of 2 types. One is connection oriented, another one is connectionless. So based on that, the transport layer will transport data from one system to this software application of the system to the another one. Session layer mean it working principle is inter-host communication. So presentation layer's duty is a representation of the data. To represent the data, we will use this presentation layer. That means data encapsulation, data encryption and decryption. So everything will be taken care by the presentation layer. Next, the main important layer of this OSI reference model is application layer. It is the main one, means the first application layer which is used to process the network processes to application. So we'll see the architecture of OSI reference model. So this is the architecture for OSI reference model. Here we have two devices are there. One is A, another one is B. Now A wants to send a data. So this is sender and this is receiver device. Now if A wants to send data to B, here we have a route path is there, means from source to destination we have n number of devices are there in the intermediate. So that's why the intermediate nodes are represented like this, mean because between the sender device and the receiver device we have more number of devices are there. So now by using the OSI reference model, we will send data from device A to device B. How it will take place mean, here in OSI reference model we have 7 layers are there: physical layer, data link layer, network layer, transport, session, presentation, application. And in the middle 7-6 interface mean that is the interface between the layer 7 and layer 6. And here each and every layer is again interconnected. So here application layer is peer-to-peer protocol, mean it will follow the peer-to-peer protocol, and presentation layer is also following the peer-to-peer protocol, and session layer follows peer-to-peer protocol, and transport layer also follows the peer-to-peer protocol. So if here we have 7 layers are there, in these 7 layers it will be divided into 2. One is hardware part, another one is software part. So here the top 3 layers are there. So what are the top 3 layers? Application, presentation and session. So these 3 are related to the software of the system, and the network, data link and physical layer are the bottom 3 layers and are related to the hardware part. Now in the middle the transport layer is there. This is the main heart of this OSI reference model. This is the backbone part, because it will decide whether it is a connectionless transmission or connection oriented transmission. So now see, here the data is transmitted first, starting from application layer. It will move to the presentation layer. From that presentation layer it will do its own functionalities, and after that it will transmit to session layer, and from session layer it will go to the transport. So from the transport again it will move to the network layer, and each and every layer is having its own functionality. Whenever the data is reached to that particular layer, definitely it will fulfill its functionality, and after completion of that it will transmit the data to the next layer. So in this way each and every layer do its own functionalities to that data, and after reaching to the physical layer the data is in the form of binary bits, and that bits is transmitted through a channel and it is received by the physical layer of the device B, that means the physical layer of the receiver device. So from that receiver device again the process is continued in the reverse process. That means from the physical layer the data is moved to upper layer, data link layer, and from that data link layer it is reached to the network layer, and from network layer it will reach to transport layer, and from transport to session, session to presentation, and finally it is received by application layer. So like that the data is transmitted from one device to the another device. So for example, what is this application? What is this application? So if you want to transmit a data through email, that means first you need to open the application that is called as Gmail. So Gmail is an application. Now you will start transmitting the data, means sending a mail by using that application. And At the receiver device also, it will receives the data in the form of email only. That means to open the message, definitely the receiver device will open the application, Gmail application. So for example, now a trending system is there, means we are using so many different social medias like Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, so like that Instagram, so many are there. So if you want to share an information, definitely the sender device needs that application and the receiver device also needs that application. Whenever the application is opened by the sender device and share some post, and if the receiver device is also having that application, then only you will receive the message. Even though he received the message is opened whenever he is installed the application. That's why to send the data from sender device to the receiver device, it will follows so many steps. So it crosses 7 different layers by using the OSI reference model. So in the next we will see what is the functionalities, what are the protocols used in each and every layer. So we will see. So first layer we will discuss is physical layer. So what is this physical layer? It is the lowest layer of the OS model. So in that OSI reference model, this is the lowest layer, means from the bottom this is the first layer. So what is the main duty of this physical layer? It establishes, maintains and deactivates the physical connection. So if two systems want to share an information, so for sharing the information, it will be connected through wire. That means if you want to share the information from one system to the another system, so definitely the systems are connected through a wire, or through wireless we need to share the information. So that will be decided, mean that physical connection will be decided by this physical layer. Either we are using the wireless connection or wired connection. The main functionality of physical layer is to transmit the data in the form of bits from one system to the another system. From one node to another node, we will transmit the data in the form of bits. So this is the architecture we will follow in the physical layer. So here we have the physical layer is there. Above to this physical layer, the data link layer is there. So what are the data link layers? Data is there. Simply the data is transmitted to this physical layer. So here data is in the form of binary bits 1 0 0 1 0 like that. So now that data is transmitted through a transmission medium. So transmission medium means here we are using two different types of transmission mediums. One is wire. So wire connection, another one is wireless connection. So through wires or through wireless we are connecting from one device to the another device. So example for this wire and wireless. So through wire mean if for example in one system some of the data is there, some file is saved or some images are saved. So if you want to share that information from one system to the another system, so simply you will connect through a cable. Through a USB cable, you are connecting from one device to the another device, and simply you will copy the data from one device and it is moved to the another device. So by wired means simply we are connecting through cables or wires. Wireless means we are connecting one system to the another system. So nowadays we are using Bluetooth, ShareMe like that. So many applications are there. So through wireless also we are connecting from one device to the another device. So that will be taken care by this physical layer. So what are the main functionalities of physical layer are? First one is line configuration. So what is this line configuration? So line configuration means it defines the way how two or more devices can be connected physically. So how the devices are connected? By using wire connection or by using wireless connection, because by using this physical medium we will connect two or more devices, that will be decided by physical layer. So this is the first functionality of physical layer. Data transmission. So if the systems are connected through wires or through wireless, now the data is transmitted. If for example cable or signals are used, mean wireless is used. So in any of the case, the data is transmitted in the form of either analog signals or a digital signal. So that will be in the form of zeros and ones, binary data. So in the form of bits, the data is transmitted from one layer to the another layer. So here data transmission will be done in three different modes. One is simplex mode, half duplex mode and full duplex mode. So simplex mode means only one directional data transmission. So there is no reverse direction of data, mean only the orders will be passed. So one directional data transmission is called as simplex transmission. So only there is no reply message in this case. Half duplex means here both directional data transmission is there, but at a time only one directional data transmission is there. That means first one person sends the data, after the data is received correctly, then only the receiver will transmit the data. That means both directionally data transmission is possible, but at a time it is not possible. So example for this one mean we are the police department using the walkie-talkie. So walkie-talkie are the best examples for this half duplex mode. So what is the main important thing which is done by a walkie-talkie? Once one person is talking, so after completion of his sharing information, he simply said over. So once the over message is there, mean the part of that sender's data is over, completed. Now it is the turn to the second person. Now the second person will share the information. So like that some real time example, railway track. So at a particular time only one train is moving on the railway track in one direction only. So both directional the moving of train is possible, but at a time one train will travel through that railway track. So that is the example for half duplex. Full duplex means at a time both directional data transmission. For example, mobile chatting or mobile calls. So mobile calls means it is possible to both callers, means either the sender or the receiver, both will talk at the same time. So that will be possible with full duplex mode. Topology, it defines the way how network devices are arranged. That means here the topology, different type of the structure of connecting computer systems is called topology. So different type of topologies are used here. So what are the different type of topologies? So we have four different type of topologies are there. One is bus topology, ring topology, star topology and hybrid topology. So by using these four different type of topologies, the systems are connected, the arrangement of the systems, the arrangement of the computer devices. So this topology is also related to this physical layer. Signals. So signal means the transmission of data, the type of data to be transmitted. So here we will consider any of the case, either analog signals or a digital signals. Any of the type of signal can be transmitted from one device to the another device. So this is about the functionalities of physical layer. Now coming to the next second layer from the bottom, that is called as data link layer. So what is this data link layer? This layer is responsible for the error-free transmission of the data frames. So while transmitting the data, definitely the receiver will get the error-free data. That means while transmission, we have two different channels are there. One is noisy channel, another one is noiseless channel. So noiseless means no disturbance is there. Noisy means some disturbance, some cross connections are there. If whenever any cross connection or any disturbance or noisy channel is there, definitely the error will be occurred. So error means here if you are considering the binary data, simply the one value is changed to 0 or 0 value is changed to 1. Even one place of bit is changed, the complete meaning of the data is changed. So to avoid that, the data link layer main functionality is responsible for error-free data transmission. It defines the format of the data on the network. So here the data link layer's duty is to frame the data. So framing up of the data, here we will add the MAC address. MAC means medium access control address of the sender and as well as the receiver. MAC addresses are added as a header and trailer in this case. It provides a reliable and efficient communication between two or more devices, and it is mainly responsible for the unique identification of each device that resides on a local area network. So in that local area and network, each and every device is having a unique MAC address. So that unique MAC address is related to the particular device. So by using this data link layer, by observing the MAC address, we will identify who is the sender device and who is the receiver device. So here what the data is collected from the network layer, for that data we will add two things. One is header, another one is trailer. So that header and trailer is nothing but the MAC address of the source and MAC address of the receiver devices. So once the framing of the system is done, again framing is of different types. So different framing techniques are used to frame up the data. So once the framing of data is completed, next it will transmit to the physical layer. So from that physical layer, again it will be received by the physical layer of the receiver device. So from that physical layer, it will taken to the data link layer, and from that data link layer the data is transmitted to the network layer. In this way the process is continued. Now see what are the functionalities of data link layer. It contains two sublayers. So data link layer, based on the functionalities, means responsibilities of data link layer, it is mainly divided into two sublayers. One is called logical link control layer, another one is called as medium access control layer. So logical link control layer. So what is this logical link control layer? It is mainly responsible for transferring the packets from network layer of the receiver and to the network layer. Means from the network layer it is receiving the data and it is data is passed to the physical layer. From that physical layer through a channel, it will be received by the receiver side's physical layer, and the data layer's duty is it will take data from the physical layer and it is transmitted to the network layer. It identifies the address of the network layer protocol from the header. So from the header and the trailer, it will identify the address of the source, and from trailer it will identify the address of the receiver, because the header and trailer is nothing but the medium MAC address of the source and MAC address of the receiver. That MAC address is unique one. It also provides the flow control. So another thing, what is this flow control? So flow control means sometimes we have to control the flow, because the sender is fast and the receiver is very slow. So at that time there may be a chance of losing of data. To avoid that, the flow control is the main functionality of this data link layer. Another sublayer that is called as medium access control layer. So what is this medium access control layer? Whenever two or more citizens want to access the system, so at that time, without knowing, means due to the hidden layers, one system is unknowingly transmit the data at the same time of the another system. So due to that, two stations want to access the system at the same time. So due to that, the collision will happen. To avoid those type of collisions, this medium access control layer will take the responsibility. It is used for transferring the packets over the network. So what are the functionalities of data link layer? So we have different functionalities are there. First one is framing, means whatever the data is collected from network layer, that data will be framed up into that data will be framed up. So how it will be framed up? Means by adding the two frames, that is called as header and trailer, to the original data packet. So what the frames contains? So the header will contains the source address and the trailer will contains the receiver's address. Physical addressing. So physical addressing means this is the address, means we are already framing up with a data header and receivers. So that will give the unique addresses of the source and destination, which is nothing but the physical addressing. Flow control. So this is the main functionality of the data link layer. Why this is the main functionality? So if for example the sender side and receiver side, so the sender will send the data and the receiver will receive the data. So if the sender is very fast for sending the data, but the receiver is not that much of capability to receive all the data because it is very slow receiver. So due to that, some data may lost in the middle itself only. So to avoid that type of cases, the flow control is the main responsibility of the data link layer. And next one is error control. So error control, what is this error control? While transmitting the data, we have a noisy channel is also there sometimes. So due to that noisy channel, some data is corrupted. Otherwise, two or more stations wants to transmit the data at the same time. That means they are accessing the channel at the same time. So this leads to collisions. So if the collision will happen, automatically some of the data is corrupted. So to avoid that, this error control mechanism is the main functionality of the data link layer. Access control. When two or more devices are connected to the same communication channel, then the data link layer protocols are used. Means the medium access control sublayer is used to access the control of the particular channel. Next, coming to the next third layer from the bottom, that is called as network layer. So what is the main duty of this network layer? To route the network traffic are known as network layer protocols. So to find the route, means if source is there and the destination is there. So if source want to transmit a data to the destination, so some intermediate nodes are also there. So we need to find the route from in which direction the data is transmitted. So for that purpose, this network layer is used. The example protocols of network layer are IPv4 and IPv6. It determines the best path, means we have so many directions, means when source and destination are connected, there are so many intermediate nodes are there, but by using this network layer we need to find the best path. So best and shortest path to transmit the data from sender to the receiver. Routers are the layer 3 devices. They are specified in this layer and used to provide the routing services. Means in this network layer we are using the hardware device called router. So that router will decide the route path of the particular source, means particular transmission of the source data. So that will be taken care by this network layer. So this is the architecture. So the network layer takes data from the transport layer. Here for that data he is adding one address. So that address is called as IP address of the particular system. So IP means internet protocol address that will be added to the data, and here in network layer the data is in the form of packet. So the packet format is IP header and data. So now the data is transmitted to the data link layer. So again from data link layer it will receive to the physical layer. So from reverse, means in the receiver side the data is taken from the data link layer, and in the network layer the data packet is transmitted to the transport layer. Now see what are the functionalities of network layer. So internetworking. So this is the main responsibility of the network layer. So which is used to provide the logical connection between the different devices. So to connect the devices logically we are using this network layer. Addressing. So for representing the source and destination address, means route path finding. So for route path we definitely know the address. So the source address and the destination address will be framed up in this network layer. So why the addresses are used? So for unique identification of the source and unique identification of the receiver we will maintain the addresses. routing. So this is the major component, major functionality of the network layer. Why routing is important? Because from source to destination we have different routes are there. For example, we will see, so this is the systems connected A, B, C and D. So now this is the architecture in which the systems are connected. Now A is the source or sender device and D is the destination device. So now from A the data packet is transmitted to D. So here we have so many routes are there. Here the source is A and the destination is D. So the data is transmitted in this direction, this is one way, or the data is transmitted from A to B and from B to B, this is another way, or otherwise A to C and from C to D, this is another way, or from A to B, B to C and from C to D. So this is one way. That means the route path, the path from source to destination is many more. So we need to find the shortest path that will be decided in the network layer. So definitely we will find the shortest path by using various algorithms. So from source to transmit the data from source to destination. Packetizing. So packetizing means the data which is collected from the transport layer is make it into a packet. So what is packet? It will be encapsulated data. So how it will be encapsulated? It will be packetized by using the address, of the source and destination address. So simply we called the IP address. So IP means internet protocol. So along with the data we are adding the IP header value, because the IP address is unique for each and every system. The IP address of one system is never matched up with the IP address of the another system. So that's why we will add the IP address to the data, and completely we called it as packet. Now coming to the transport layer, the main responsibility of this layer is to transport the data completely. That means without the duplication of the data will be correctly sent to the receiver. So this is the main responsibility of the transport layer. And here whatever the data is collected from the upper layer, means from the session layer, that will be divided it into segments, means different parts, and each part is again transmitted to the network layer. Here the data is in the form of segments. So this is termed as an end-to-end transmission, means from one system to another system the data is transmitted. So it provides a point-to-point connection between the source system and the destination system. Why it is a point-to-point connection? So from source to destination, definitely the data, reliably the data is transmitted, means without any error, without any corruption, or without duplication of data, the sender's data is correctly received by the receiver. So this will be taken care by the transport layer. So here the data is collected from the session layer and it will be divided into segments, and each and every segment is assigned a header value. So data, this is segment 1, this is segment 2, this is segment 3. Now all these three segments are passed to the network layer. Now at that network layer, again it will be club up into one data unit and add the IP address to that one. So this is the receiver side, how the data is collected from network layer, and it will be in the form of segments, and all the segments are clubbed into a single unit and it is passed to the session layer. Now coming to the functionalities of transport layer. So what are the functionalities of transport layer? First one is service point addressing and segmentation and reassembly. So this is also the functionality of transport layer. Connection control. So two different types of connections are there. One is connectionless, another one is connection oriented. So that will be taken care by this transport layer. Flow control and error control. So flow control, error control means to control the flow, means from fast sender to slow receiver we will control the flow, and error control mean to avoid the errors while transmitting the data. Coming to the next upper layer, that is called as session layer. So, this is the third layer from the top. So, what is the main duty of this session layer? It is used to establish, maintain and synchronizes the interaction between the communication devices. So, this is the main responsibility of session layer. So, here is the session layer, how the data is collected from presentation layer, and from that presentation layer each and every session the in that data is in the form of synchronization, and that data is again transmitted to the transport layer. So, here is the representation for data in the session layer. Now, coming to the functionalities of session layer. So, what are the functions of session layer? Dialogue control. So, dialogue control means a dialogue between two processes, or we can say that it allows the communication between two processes which can be either half duplex or full duplex. So, that will be controlled by this session layer. Session means assigning a time, assigning a slot for that particular system. Synchronization. Synchronization means add some checkpoints when transmitting the data in a sequence. So, if some errors occur in the middle of the transmission of data, then the transmission will take place again from the checkpoint. So, this is known as synchronization and recovery. So, what is this main purpose of this synchronization? So, we have a noisy channel or noiseless channel is there. For example, if you consider the noisy channel, whenever the data transmission is taken place, then due to some noisy, the data is corrupted in the middle. So, if the data is corrupted, means that will not be received by the receiver side. So, again the sender will start from the starting point, that is a checkpoint. So, we need to maintain a checkpoints in the session layer. So, if any case the data is corrupted in the middle, then definitely the sender will start from that checkpoint to avoid the duplication of the data or to recover the data. Whenever error corruption is there, mean error loss of data is there, then simply we need to recover the data by using this synchronization concept. Coming to the presentation layer, here the data is represented by using syntaxes and semantics of the information. So, here we will use the means here we will apply the encryption and decryption methods. So, encryption means why we use whenever the data is transmitted from one device to the another device, to provide security to our data, we maintain some syntax means we will maintain some syntaxes and semantics, and we will the data is correctly received by the means without any uninterruption, mean unauthorized persons will capture our data. So, to avoid those things, this presentation layer is used. So, this presentation layer is also known as syntax layer. What are the functionalities of presentation layer? So, first thing is translation. So, translation means to avoid the theft of our data. We will translate our data by using encapsulation methods. Encryption and decryption methods are used to convert the plain text into ciphertext by using encryption process, and after transmission of the data, the ciphertext is again converted into the plain text. So, that will be taken care in this presentation layer. And different computers use different encoding methods. So, encoding methods are also used by this presentation layer. Next one, it converts the data from sender dependent format into a common format and changes the common format into receiver dependent format. So, sometimes whatever the data is transmitted by sender, so the format of that sender is different from the format of the receiver. So, to maintain the particular format of sender and receiver, this presentation layer will take care about that. So, these are the functions of the presentation layer: encryption and compression. So, data compression, sometimes large data is used to transmit from sender to receiver. So, at that time we need to compress the data, means compression means the size of the data is reduced, that means but not the data is lost, means complete data is there, but the size is compressed. So that will be also taken care by this presentation layer. Now coming to the final layer, that is called as application layer, and this is the topmost layer from the top. And what is the main purpose of this application layer? It serves as a window for users and application processes to access the network service. So it handles many issues like network transparency, resource allocation, etc. Because each and every user maintain the application, then only what the sender will receive. The same thing is sender sends the data, the same thing is received by the receiver. That means both sides, the application is the window, the application is working as a window for both users of sender and the receiver. So this provides the network services to the end users. End users are nothing but the receivers are the customers. So if you consider the client server architecture, then all the clients coming under the end users in the presentation application layer. So this is the application layers architecture, how the data is there and the data is transmitted to the next layer, that is called as presentation layer. So various different type of applications are used here. So in that application the data is represented in different formats. So by using this application layer, first the data transmission is starting, and from that application layer it will be transmitted to the presentation layer. Now see what are the functionalities of application layer. Functions of application layer, first one is file transfer, access and management. So simply called FTAM. FTAM means file transfer, access and management. So this will be taken care by the application layer functionality. Mail services means by using emails we will send mails from one system to the another system. That is also possible by using this application layer. Directory services, so to maintain the databases, so we need to store the data in servers. So client server architectures are using this application layer functionalities. So here this is the OSI reference models, how the data is there in each and every layer. So if the layers are arranged like this, so the first one represents the application layer. Here the data is there along with the header value. So this is the encapsulation process of OSI reference model. Encapsulation means wrapping up of data into single unit. So the data whatever the sender wants to send, simply the data is in the form of data with address. Now address means sender's address. Now for that we will add another address, means we are packing up into somewhere, that is called as in the presentation layer. Now from that data again we will add the another header, that is we will wrap up the data and we will add the address of the next layer. So this is related to session layer D5 and H5. Now from that D5 it will reach to the transmission layer. So here we are adding the H4, that is nothing but IP header. So IP header, and this is the data unit, and in transport layer the data is in the form of segments. Data is in the form of segments. Now coming to the network layer. So in that network layer whatever the data is there, for that data we will add the IP addresses. So the IP address is added in the network layer, and the data which is represented in network layer are called as packets. Now the data link layer receives this packet, and for that packet it will add the header and trail, means framing of the data. So to frame up it will add the MAC address of the source as a header and MAC address of the receiver as the trailer. H2 and T2 represents the MAC addresses of the sender and the receiver. So from that data link layer the data is transmitted to the physical layer. So here in this physical layer the data is represented in the form of bits, zeros and ones. So from that physical layer it will be transmitted through a channel, and finally it will be received by the receiver, and the reverse process is continued in the receiver side. So this is about OSI reference model. Hopefully you people will understand this one. Thank you for watching.